The future is pretty bright in the cereal business, so that was one of the first things we've got to do, of course, is hire some commercial people that can focus exclusively on the cereal business, and thus Jim Bradshaw.
Around agribusiness circles, the big question is just how much investment do you make when, somebody can pretty easily just back the wagon into the shed and keep it till next year. So how do you ensure that your investment pays off down the road?
A really good question, Andrew. I don't know if we can ensure and guarantee it, but there's so few global organizations involved in private wheat breeding. We're one of we are the largest, so we see a return on investment. So up to this point, predominantly, the return on that research investment is through royalties. So you license germplasm to, in our case, I give you the example of Proven Viterra, and they pay Syngenta a royalty for the use of that germplasm. So that's been the revenue stream or the return on investment that you're alluding to. And there's other business models, like we're going to do our own seed production and then sell our own seed to, retailers and distributors, initially in Western Canada, and hope to bring it to Eastern Canada. So from a business perspective, from our point of view, which I think is part of your question, Andrew, if it was only, the only thing we had to offer in Canada, or let's say Western Canada, was strictly wheat genetics, we probably wouldn't do it. We continue this royalty route through other partners in the seed business, but because we're already there, well established, and we have all the other components for wheat production systems except for the seed, and concurrently we're the largest in the wheat genetics, we're saying, well, let's add that component to our offer for Western Canada.
Jay, does biotech have a fit in all of this?
Well, that's what some of our competitor developers around the world. I think someday, Andrew, there will be traits in wheat. Now, that's a very sensitive subject. We've always kept the Canadian Wheat Board involved in everything we're doing in our wheat program in Canada and our future and long-term plans, because that's a very sensitive issue. But I do believe someday, in minimum, that's 8 to 10 years away, absolute minimum, there will be traits in wheat. But we'll be very, very careful. I think in the short term for us, at Syngenta, and more importantly for our farmers, in the short term, Western Canada, and hopefully, to your point later, in Eastern Canada, I think there's a benefit for a company like Syngenta starting to put more research dollars just in the traditional wheat breeding program, because the varieties are falling behind, Andrew.
A long ways behind.
The U.S. is so bloody far ahead of us, and I'm passionate about Canadian agriculture. I want our farmers in Canada to at least have the same access to varieties